Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. As we are sponsored in our tour through Shavuos, by Abi Spad for Shleima for Taiba Reis Basinda and Zibugim for their daughter and grandchildren. We're sponsored by Shali Zeitlin for the Shleima Moshe ben Esther Fadl and for Shimon ben Sarah Miriam and for the schus of his wonderful children Eli, Orit, and Ora. We're also sponsored for the spiritual, emotional, and physical protection of Yeshua Menachem Mendel, Ben Bela, Shendel, Rivka. We are holding on the very top line of Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, where the Gemara addresses the question of that we said a Shavuos Shav and a Shavuos Sheker Echodein. Now they're not Echodein; they're different things. So why are they considered like one? So the Gemara says v'Iba Yisema Kishem Shemevi Korban al Sheker, just like you bring a carbon for a false oath. Kach Mevi Korban al Shav, so you also bring a carbon for a vain oath. So if he swore that I ate or I didn't eat, we said it's immediately false. So it's similar to a vain oath, like saying that the sun is the moon. You're also chayiv a carbon. Rabbi Kiva, and it's going according to Rabbi Kiva, the mechayiv she'avar ke lahaba, that he's chayiv, that he holds your chayiv for an oath in the past, like for breaking an oath in the future. Meisvei, Ezu Shavuos Shav. What is a Shavuos Shav? Nishpe l'shanais es a yedua l'adam. If he swears to change that which is known to man, if he swears that a man is a woman, used to be that was obviously not true today, or if he swears that the sun is the moon. Shavuos Sheker is nishpe lahachalif, where he swears to switch. Now that would seem to be that if he swears that he ate and he didn't eat, so he switches, that's a Shavuos Sheker, but we said that that's a Shavuos Shav. So the Gemara switches that and says, Ema nishpa umachalif. He swears and then he switches. In other words, he swears that he won't eat and then he eats, or he swears that he will eat and he doesn't eat. So he swears to switch. That's a Shavuos Sheker. Now, the Gemara yet gives us another explanation when it says that Shavuos Sheker and Shavuos Shav is one. Kiyasa Rabin, Amar Reb Yirmiyah, Amar Reb Yavo, Amar Reb Yochanan, Ochalti v'lo yachalti, I ate and I didn't eat. I ate and I didn't eat. That's sheker. That's a false oath. You shouldn't swear with my name falsely, because it's false. You said you ate, you didn't eat, that's false. Oichel v'lo oichel, I will eat and I won't eat. And then he says he will eat and he doesn't eat, or I won't eat and he does eat. Oiver b'lo yachal devar. He's transgresses, not breaking his word. Ve'ezu Shavuos Shav. What's a Shavuos Shav? Nishba l'shana, he says, where he swears to change that which is known to man. Well, for example, he swears that gold is silver, or that silver is copper. Says the Gemara, Amara Papa, Hod de Rebbe Yavo, that which Rebbe Yavo, that which we say the Rebbe Yavo holds, that oath in the past, where he swears that I ate and he didn't eat, is a Shavuos Sheker. La beferish itmar. He didn't say that outright. Ela michlolo itmar. It's inferred from something he said. What is it inferred from? Dam Rabbi Ba'avin, Am Rav Amram, Am Rabbi Yitzchak, Am Rabbi Yochanan. For Rabbi Ba'avin said the name Rav Amram, said the name Rabbi Yitzchak, said the name Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Mishim Rabbi Yitzchak clearly, Kol lo yisasei sheb'Torah. Any negative prohibition in the Torah, lav sheyesh by ma'isa loiken alav. If it's a lav that has an action, you get malchus. V'she'ein by ma'isa. If there's no action, like what's an example of a lav that has no action? It says you shouldn't leave it, the carbon, past the morning. So when you leave it past the morning, that's a passive act. You didn't do anything, you just didn't eat it. So v'she'ein by ma'isa, ein loiken alav. With three exceptions. Chutz min nishba, if one swears, or meimer, and one makes a tmura. Tmura is where he says, he takes a carbon and takes another animal and says, zeh tachas zeh, this should be instead of this. You're not supposed to do that. It says, lo yama v'liyach lifenu. Or mekalel es chavere b'shem, and one who curses his friend using the name of Hashem. So now the Gemara says, as we welcome in Gedalia, the Gemara, we're up to the first of the three exceptions where you get malchus for a lav she'ein b'maisa. So, nishba minola, how do we know that we get malchus even though it's only talking by swearing? Rabbi Yochanan mishim Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai amakra. The pasuk says, "L'sisa Hashem Hashem alikecha lashav." You shouldn't take Hashem's name in vain. Kilo yenake, for you won't be cleansed. Now, for you won't be cleansed means bezdin shalmala ein menakenoisai. The heavenly court doesn't cleanse him. Aval bezdin shalmata, but the lower court, the court down here, malkenoisai, they flog him. Umenakenoisai, says the Gemara. You can never be cleansed from such a heinous sin. So he says, Iksiv kilo yinake. If it said kilo yinake without anything further, you'd be right. He can't be cleansed. Hashtag kilo yinake Hashem. It won't be cleansed by Hashem. Hashem won't cleanse him. Aval bezdin shalmata malkin oisei u'menakin oisei. Now, the Gemara says, Ashkechan Shavuos Shav. So we find that there's malchus by a vainov, because that's where it says lo yanaka, by a vainov. Shavuos sheker minalan. How do we know a false oath? So Rabbi Yochanan Didei Amar, Rabbi Yochanan himself says, it says la shav shtei pamim. It says Shavuos Shav twice. And the Gemara will say that the Shavuos Sheker is where he swears that I ate and he didn't eat, or he swears that he didn't eat and he ate. So Rabbi Yavo, hi Shavuos Sheker heichidami. This Shavuos Sheker that we're learning out from the extra shav that this malchus, what's the case? Ilema, if it's a case. Barry's not here, huh? Oh, he is. I needed a criminal.
Me, I'm just eating.
Okay, hearty appetite.
Thank you.
Even criminals have to eat. So the Gemara says that which we said that it says shav an extra time to include a Shavuos Sheker that is malchus. What's the case? Hi Shavuos Sheker echidami. Ilema, that Barry says Shavuos lo yachal, I swear that I won't eat. He did say that this morning. He swore that he won't eat for 24 hours, and here you see him, he's eating. What do you think he was taking the camera away, right? And he's eating. V'achal, says the Gemara, that's not a lav shein by Maisa. That's a Maisa. He's chomping away. I could hear it all the way from Staten Island. Says the Gemara, lav sheyesh by Maisa. The Ella da Amar Shavuos she'oichel, where he swears that he's gonna eat v'lo yachal, and he doesn't eat. Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan holds that such a case doesn't get malchus. We'll see both Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish say they don't get malchus, but for different reasons. Hai mi loike, is there malchus for such a case? V'itmar shvur she'oichel kikar zu hayom. If Barry swears that he's going to eat this loaf today, mamish, a big loaf of Italian bread, he loves it, big Italian bread, right? Shvur she'oichel kikar zu hayom. And the day passes and he doesn't eat it. Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish dimri tuvayu ain't like it. Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish both say that he doesn't get malchus. Rabbi Yochanan ain't like it. Rabbi Yochanan says he doesn't get malchus because not eating is a lav shem b'maisa. Mishum nav a lav shem b'maisa. Because lav shem b'maisa ain't like it a lav. Reish Lakish says there's a different reason why he doesn't get malchus. Because it's hasra suffix. I can't tell Barry. Barry said, see this Italian bread? I swear I'm not going to eat it today. Till Shkia, I'm not going to eat it. He can't. You have to give him asra. But you can't give him an asra. If you don't eat it, you're going to get malchus. Because he might not eat it now, but he'll eat it in 5 hours. You also can't say, if you don't eat it the whole day, you'll get malchus. Because by the time he eats it, he might have forgotten the hasra. So therefore, you can only tell him now, if you don't eat it, you might get malchus if you don't eat it also 5 hours from now. That's only asra suffix. Now, of course, you'll ask, why can't you give him asra in the last minute of the day? If you don't eat it now, you get malchus. But Reish Lakish holds the efshel tzamtzim. You can't figure out the last minute of the day. Remember, they didn't have digital watches in those days. So Reish Lakish says, "Ain't like mishum davi asra safik, asra safik lo yishma asra." V'amar Rabbi Yavo, when Rabbi Yochanan says that there's malchus for a shvur sheker, that's where Barry swore he ate and he didn't eat, or he swore he didn't eat and he ate. Teiba achalti v'lo yachalti. So the Gemara says, well, of course, that's also a lav shem b'maisa. Barry says, I swear I ate, or I swear I didn't eat. That's a lav shem b'maisa. So why, for swearing I ate and I didn't eat, does it get malchus? But for swearing that he will eat and he doesn't, there's no malchus. Both of them are equally a lav shem b'maisa. So maishna, I'm a rava beferish ripsa Torah shvuah sheker doima l'shav. Because remember we said it says shvuah shav twice. So why does it say the second time? It's to remember shvuah sheker, but it has to be similar to a shvuah shav, that it's a lie immediately. So when you swear gold is silver, that's a lie immediately. When you swore I ate and you didn't eat, or you swear I didn't eat and you ate, it's a lie immediately. Okay. Eisvei Rabbi Yirmiyah labaya Rabbi Avo. So now Rabbi Yirmiyah asked Rabbi Avo, Shvuah sheloi oichel kikirzu. Barry swears, I swear that I won't eat this Frankfurter roll. And then he swears another time, Shvuah sheloi achlenu, Shvuah sheloi achlenu. And after doing that for achla, and he eats it, einoi chayev ela achas. You're only chayev once. Why? Because there's a klal, ein shvuah chal al shvuah. That one shvuah can't be chal on another shvuah. And once he swears that he's not going to eat it, then it becomes a mitzvah not to eat it. And first of all, you can't be nishba, you can't swear to be mevatel a mitzvah. But also the reason is because ein shvuah chal al shvuah, and therefore ein chayev el achas. And zui shvuas bitoy, this is the oath of utterance. Shechayav in al zdoina makis, that you chayev if you do it willfully malchus, val shigigasai carbon oil of yared. And for doing it unwittingly, a carbon oil of yared, a sliding scale carbon. Now there's a miyat zuhi. This is. What does that come to exclude? Zui lemute mai. Lav lemeuti, doesn't it come to exclude the case where he talks l'sha'avar, where he says, I swear that I ate, or I swear that I didn't eat, the loy lucky. But Rabbi Avo says over there's also malchus, because it says shav twice. Says Gemara loy, no. Lemeuti achalti v'lo achalti mikarban. It's coming to exclude where he swears I ate and I didn't eat, and he did it unwittingly. He thought he ate, but then he realized that he didn't eat, or he thought he didn't eat, and he did eat. And it's coming to tell me that in such a case, there's no carbon oil of yair. And therefore the miyad is as follows. Zuhi, only if he swears that he won't eat and he eats, is there a carbon oil of yair. Zuhi dal shigigasa carbon oil of yair. Aval achalti v'loya achalti, there will be malchus, but there's no carbon oil of yair, loy, because this is going according to the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael, you're not chayiv a carbon only for an oath in the future. For an oath in the past, where he swore I ate, or he swears he didn't eat, there's no carbon oil of yared. I'm a milka lucky, but there is malchus. Hey, Sefer. What are we going to do with the Sefer? Now let me just welcome in everybody, as I welcome in Irving Fishbaum, and Yitzi Fuchs, and Saba, and the Ben-Zion Cohn, Shimon Klein, Shelley Zeitlin, Ruven Pollack, Dr. Guy, Mel Zachter, Baruch Ian, who decided to make an appearance. I already had sent out the truancy officers. They couldn't find you. Shalom Fogel, but it's nice to see you. Barry Cement, Menachem Umansky, Eddie Chazan, Yaakov Warman, Dov Solkowitz, Nachman Chapler, Gedalia Engel, Dr. Udell, Jack Silverman, Avram Rezepkowitz, Stephen Holtzman, Ilya Shutman, Yitzi Muller, Abe Arbach, and David Helfgott. We have here in Shul, Berish Gesserman, Chaim Kramer, Michal Avram, Ruvain Sharon, Reb Halpert. Now, Ema Sefer. Let's take a look at the Sefer. Zuhi, again, it uses that word that's a miyat, this and not something else. Zui shvua shav shechayav and al zdaina makis, that you're chayav for doing it willfully a makis, v'al shigigasei potter. This is it talks about where you swear that gold is silver or that a man is a woman. This is where you're chayav malchus, but you're not chayav a carbon oil of yair. Now zui lemu'utei mai. Again, why does it say zui? Isn't it coming to exclude the case of achalti v'loy achalti? My lav lemute achalti v'loy achalti, the loy lucky, that he doesn't get malchus, which would be a kasha on Rebbe Avo. Loy, zuhi dal shigigosai patamikar. Aval achalti v'loy achalti. When he swears a man is a woman or silver is gold, there's no carbon of yard. But an oath in the past, there al shigigosai chayv, and this would be going according to Rabbi Kiva. Chayv carbon. Rabbi Kiva, the mechayv l'shav kishalaba. They chayv in the past, like in the future. It says, Rabbi, you said that the Reisha was Rabbi Yishmael. Ha'amrit Reisha Rabbi Yishmael. Reisha Rabbi Yishmael, the Sefer Rabbi Akiva. Is the Reisha Rabbi Yishmael and the Sefer Rabbi Kiva? Says, well, no, Kula Rabbi Kiva. So when it said Zui in the Reisha, what was coming to exclude? It wasn't coming to exclude achalti v'lo achalti from a carbon. The Reisha lav lemute achalti v'lo achalti mikarbon. El lemute, if he swore that he was going to eat, el lemute eichel v'lo eichel memalkes. According to Rabbi Yochanan, because it's a lav shein by Maisa, and according to Reish Lakish, because it's asra safek. Aval carbon mechayev. Says Gemara Maishna, how do you know that it's coming to exclude a case in the future and not a case in the past? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you how we know. Mistavra koi bala abba. Since the case with his malchus is where Barry swears that he won't eat and he does eat, So therefore, when it says the exclusion, it's also coming, Koi balaba, mimayit laba. Koi balaba, if he's talking about the future, it does make sense that he's mimayit l'sha'avar, a case of the past, of a chalti v'lo chalti. We want to take the pleasure of welcoming in Richard Rosenzweig for our 28th Zoomer of the evening. You feel bad that we're missing so many relatives, regulars, Aaron Swade, Marshall Castle, Mark Frankel, missing a lot of regulars over here this evening. Marshall, I think, is on vacation. Aaron is not feeling so well. Should have a refuah shalema. Aaron ben Sarah, refuah shalema b'sek shachel Yisrael. Now, the Gemara says as follows: Iboyalu. Rabbi Kiva said in the Mishnah that if a person swears that he won't eat, and he eats a tiny amount, less than the share of a kazayas, he's still chayiv. He's still chayiv. Now the Rabbanan say no. The share of eating is a kazayas. If you didn't eat a kazayas, you're not chayiv. Rabbi Kiva says you do. So the question is, there is an opinion of Rav Shimon all over Shas that you're chayiv for a pachas mikashir. You're chayiv even for a mashu. So the question is, does Rabbi Kiva hold that like Rabbi Shimon all over Shas, or is by Shvuah an exception? And the reason would be Shvuah is an exception is because he holds that by Shvuahs we go basa the lashon b'nei adam. We go basa the way people talk. And when people say, I swear I won't eat anything, it means I won't eat even a drop. So let's see the Gemara inside. Ibayalu. As we welcome in Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg. Ibayalu. Rabbi Kiva b'kol ha'Torah kurb Shimon Svirlei. Does Rabbi Kiva hold like Rabbi Shimon that you're chayiv for a pachas mikashir whole Torah? The Tanya Rabbi Shimon Aimer kol shula malchus. To be chayiv malchus, you're chayiv all over. In other words, if you eat a minuscule amount of bacon, you get malchus. And the only time they say a share of kazayas is only for a carb. The lo amru kazayas only need carb. Now the truth of the matter is that Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Kiva could have argued in all of the Torah. Why does he argue over here by Shvuah? Ubedinu di bayi flugei ba'alma. He could argue everywhere. The Chazer too. See, the Rabbanan would agree that if he swears not to have a M&M, he swears not to have an M&M. There, you would be chayav malchus for an M&M, even though it's less than a kazayas. The only question is, if he swears he's not going to eat, and he doesn't specify, so there, the Rabbanan say, the share is a kazayas. Says the Gemara, it's, the afal gav the kilometers. You could argue, since he would say, I swear not to have an M&M, even the Rabbanan Amayda that he would be chayiv malchus, stam nami chayiv, the Rabbanan should admit, even if he swears not to eat. It also means a little amount, kamash malan, the pottery, the Rabbanan pat. Oy dilma ba'alma k'Rabbanan tzvirlei. All over the rest of Torah, he holds that the share of eating is a kazayas, not like Reb Shimon. And over here, the reason why Rabbi Kiva argues is like I told you, that by Nidarim we go basal lashon b'nei adam. If he would say beferish, I'm not going to have an M&M, he would be chayiv. Stam nami chayiv. When he swears I'm not going to eat, it also means a small amount, because that's the lashon b'nei adam. Tajma, the Damrulay the Rebbe Kiva, Heichon Matzino Ba'Eichel Koshu Chayiv. Where do you find in the whole Torah that if you eat a little bit, you're Chayiv? Shizeh Chayiv. What kind of question is that? If he holds like Reb Shimon, then he does hold your Chayiv a whole Torah for a Koshu. So he says, well, it could be he holds like Reb Shimon, but he's playing devil's advocate. L'divrayim d'Rabbanan Kamal. I'm only arguing according to the opinion of Rabban. Lididi, all over the Torah, a kosher yechayiv makas. Because the Torah kula Reb Shimon Tzvirulay. Lididchu, according to you, Odulimia, at least admit to me, Hoyelu mefarish chayiv, if he would swear not to need M&M, he's chayiv, stam nami chayiv, because we go basa the lashon b'nei adam. Amrulei Rabbanan loy, no. If he swears not to have an M&M, okay, but if not, it means what's considered achila in the Torah, kazayis. Toshma, Rabbi Kiva Eimer, Rabbi Kiva says, Nazir sheshara pitoi b'yayin. If a Nazir soaks his bread in wine, v'yesh ba kedei l'tzarev kazayis, and if you combine the bread with the wine, you have a kazayis chayiv. Now, if he holds that you don't need a share in a whole Torah, then what do you have to combine the bread? Must be that he doesn't hold by Nazir the share as a kosher. If a person swears not to eat, and he eats carcasses, animals that had a fatal flaw, even if they're shechted properly, shkotzim, all types of reptiles, or ramosim, creeping things that creep close to the ground, like beetles, chayiv. Reb Shimon poiter. Reb Shimon holds your potter. Now, the reason why Reb Shimon holds your potter is because the Torah says you can't eat nevel of a treifus, and he's already mushba ba'ing mid Har Sinai. He's already sworn not to eat it, and ain't shvua chalal shvua. So the Gemara wonders, why would the Tanakama hold your chayiv? Amai chayiv, mushba mehar Sinai, he's sworn not to eat. So Rav Shmuel, Rabbi Yochanan, Nimrei Travayu, b'kailo dvarim amutarim im dvarim ha'asurim. It's talking about where he swore not to eat satmer meat and nevel streifish katzim ramas. So although it wouldn't be chal on the nevela because ain't shvua chal al shvua, but since the shvua is chal on the kosher meat, it's chal on the other meat too. Reish Lakish says you only could have a case where he's chayav for swearing not to eat nevelis and treifus, where he says that he's not even going to eat a chatzi shir, less than a kazayis. That's not mushba ba'imid Har Sinai, but leave it rabbanan. Or ibis stam, or if he swears stam without specifying, leave it to Rabbi Kiva, because according to Rabbi Kiva, even without specifying, we said by swearing it means a small amount. But if Rabbi Kiva holds that nevelis and treifus are also a small amount, so again it would be chayiv, it would be, the shua shouldn't be chal. Rabbi Kiva damadam isatz makosha, but v'isol g'daitel ba'alma. Reb Shimon Tzvirulay, if he normally holds like Reb Shimon, then kol shu nami mushba b'ayim Har Sinai. Even if the shvua means that he won't eat a small amount, but if he holds like Reb Shimon, a small amount of nevela is also asim in that Torah. And again, it would be ein shvua chal shvua. Elav shmami na ba'alma k'Rabbanan Tzvirulay. Normally he holds that the Isser is only a kazayis. Over here by shvua, we go basa the lashon b'nei adam, and it means that he's not going to eat at all. Shma mina. Okay, now we will do the segment called for the Shabbos table.